Hi, my name is James Ogle here in Central California. I'm going to be telling you about 4 ways of voting. You see, there's 538 names in the Electoral College. So if a little more than 538 or 539 names get ranked, it's actually, and each name puts a different word, like a party or a word by their name, whatever they pick. Then it's a 539 party system. Let's talk about plurality voting. They're not, you don't vote for them together. Vice President and President are each elected separately. But ultimately, whoever is picked for Vice President automatically goes with President. So approval voting is only the biggest one wins. And this one, and this one. Now, maybe one of yours will win. However, the biggest group, the biggest one, always wins. So the biggest one, the one-party system under approval voting, where the biggest one always wins because the voters get multiple votes, so there's not a split vote problem. Now, the first way, the plurality voting, that's a two-party system because the biggest party with 75% or 70% can be split 3 ways, while a small minority with maybe 25 or 30% can win with less than a majority. So that's not really majority rule. That's what we have in the US now. It's pretty much gives you the opposite of what we want. This is how it's under the U.S. Constitution, the Electoral College, but only one vote for President and Vice President. Okay, so say I voted for this one. Okay, that's only one vote. Okay, that's it. No more voting for President and Vice President. It's limited voting. Now let's look at how we do pure proportional representation. To be pure, the voter must only use numerals when they vote, beginning with the number 1, with consecutive numerals 2 or more thereafter. It's like this. Well, we gotta elect a president. Who do we want? Well, my favorite will be number 1. Let's see, okay. Now number 2. So that's how you do pure proportional representation. You could even vote for number 9 and write in a name. Now, how do we elect a vice president? The other ballots, if any of them, new people elect vice president. So once they attain 33.33% under the Droop quota, plus 1 vote, that's vice president. 1 voter determines president to break the first tie. 1 voter determines vice president to break the second tie at 33.33%. But the third one doesn't get 1 voter. But if one switched, then they would win instead. The 3-party system for president and vice president. You must use numerals. Okay, now with the single transferable vote for electing president and vice president, let me demonstrate here with these 5 ballots. 3 from Mo, Harry, and Curly, and 2 from me and you, your name. As you can see, I voted for your name. Okay, they have 3 votes, we only have 2, but they don't all 3 like each other, so they all voted for you. So the way this works is there's 5 votes for 2 seats, president, vice president. So the Droop quota would be 2 plus 1 is 3. So the threshold, 1 divided by 3 is 3.33%. So we have 5 paper ballots. How many ballots will 3.33% of 5 paper ballots be? Well, if there's 5, they're worth 20% of the vote each. So at least 2 votes over 3.33. That's the threshold for the first seat, president. They need at least 2 of the 5 number 1 votes. So you got 2 number 1 votes. You won. Your name wins because it wasn't the threshold 2 out of 5? Yeah, that's 40%. So yeah, you got more than these 3. Mo only got 1. Okay. Harry got 2, 1, and 2. That's 5. And Curly got only 1. So it would be obviously Harry. Now we're going to be looking at an election held in Los Angeles. It was for a 3-member judicial committee. You'll see the paper ballots. There's 2 ways to count the votes. One way is approval voting, and if you take the same paper ballots using the consecutively ranked numerals correctly, the second way is for a 3-member committee, it would be a 4-party system or a 4-caucus system. Now let's look at a 3-member election. It was for a 3-member judicial committee, and 37 paper ballots were cast, including 28 who did not put a numeral, even though the election was announced correctly to put a numeral in front of their name. 28 of the names did not. They did not comply with the strict math, even though Angela announced to use ranked choice voting. When electing decision items, it's always 50% plus 1. The Ogle method. The Ogle method is also ranked choice voting, or RCV. What we do, we write in number 1 for our first choice, non-aggression principle. Then number 2 for our second choice. Well, we have this item here, repeal McCain's Naval Court Inquiry of USS Liberty Incident. So we put number 2, repeal McCain's Naval Court Inquiry of USS Liberty Incident. There, see, we put a number 2 and a number 1. So these are 2 items. They both got a vote, 1 vote each out of 1 voter. So that's 100%. So they're both approved. Now, if you want additional items, we will be having many additional items, and you can't fit it on the front, just flip it over on the back. And when you mail it in, you sign it and put your contact information. So if there's any questions, we can contact you. Now, one thing about the Ogle method, it does use RCV, ranked choice voting, but not the single transferable vote. It's a new system like count the ticks. So if when someone else votes, say one other person votes, but they only voted for non-aggression principle, Well, then non-aggression principle got 2 out of 2. That's 100%. But repeal McCain's naval court inquiry of USS Liberty incident, if they didn't vote for it, then it only got 50%. So you have to get 50% plus 1. So either they vote for it, or a third person comes and votes, and it's a 2 out of 3. Now, by using the ranked choice voting, that helps break the ties. So say if one person voted for a 1 and another person voted the reverse, put that as number 2, but they both voted for it. You add up the sum of the ticks, and then the lowest sum is the highest ranked, closer to number 1. So that takes priority over all the lower ones. Now you can rank as many as you want at the snap of the fingers, and when you compile all the totals, any items that attained 50% plus 1 of the votes from the total voters are considered approved by the team. You must use numerals. Okay, well, thank you very much for listening.